Today we're heading to Brazil, which has just had a taste of the global attention it's about to face from now until 2016. Pope Francis's recent trip drew millions of the faithful to Rio and posed a logistical nightmare. Before that, the Confederations Cup football tournament saw mass protests by Brazilians angry at what they see as wasted investment. With Brazil to host the World Cup and the Olympics over the next 3 years, many are asking whether the country is really ready, especially when it comes to security. France 24, Nicholas Ransom and John Dillamore report.
Rio de Janeiro, July the 22nd, and Pope Francis is swamped by a crowd, his bodyguards overwhelmed, Brazilian police nowhere to be seen. For this Frenchman, who runs a security firm in Rio, the Pope was in danger several times during his stay.
There you can see the convoy. The vehicles in front have slowed down completely, and the Pope's vehicles forced to stop. There's no possibility of moving. In terms of close protection, it's a nightmare.
It's true the Pope insisted on being close to the people, but Brazil isn't used to being under threat of attack.
Brazil is a country that isn't in conflict with anyone. Until now, it's never had to consider the terrorism factor. It's one that must be taken into account, though, because it's going to host world events. It could well fall victim to terrorist attacks.
After a papal visit, after the Confederations Cup, and with just 10 months till the World Cup, Brazil is having to rise to some major security challenges. In surveillance terms, at least, it's already up and running. This control center has been operating in Rio since 2011.
All our operations are recorded on this map.
Interactive maps follow traffic live and give weather alerts 24 hours a day. 400 workers survey the city.
We have 560 cameras, and we receive all the images here, in this center, so we have a general overview of what's going on in the city.
Managing large crowds is when things get complicated. In June, millions of Brazilians took to the streets in historic anti-government protests. Many proved beyond the control of the country's security forces, and the movement shows no sign of ending. But organizers of the 2016 Olympics say they're optimistic.
For Brazil, what's happening recently is rather new, but we have time, 3 years, to set up new procedures and put them in practice so that we're ready for the Games.
From pacifying favelas
Take the gloves.
to bolstering the fight against drugs and arms trafficking,
There's also ammunition and magazines.
and preventing cybercrime, Brazil is on a push to reinforce security nationwide, to protect its citizens as well as visitors. On paper, everything appears to be in place, but for this university professor who specializes in public security, Brazil can't necessarily be trusted to keep its promises.
For the Confederations Cup, 12 control and coordination units were supposed to be ready to carry out surveillance. But by the time of the competition, only 2 were operational. 2 out of 12. What does that show? A lack of planning and a flaw in execution. When you're talking about international security, that's unacceptable.
Over the next 3 years, the Justice Ministry in charge of security expects to invest more than 600 million euros to ensure that the World Cup and the 2016 Games pass off without incident. But will the money be enough?